minor fiasco. Damn, man. I've usually got it in my head that a lot of the gyms that I go to close early on the weekends. Totally forgot that it's the same thing on Friday night too. So I roll up to contender number one. Usually closes at 9:30. Closed at 8. Roll up to contender number two. 9:30, and then it's already 8:50. So it's like I'm not going to do a 40-minute arm workout. Not enough time. So time to go to an actual 24-hour gym. But the yeah, so I kind of got thrown off my groove, forgetting which gym I was really headed to. And just another example, I haven't even just a few gym memberships can save you from doing a random at-home workout with like just a gallon jug of milk, or maybe even like a real fancy. Well, I mean, who doesn't have a couple dumbbells floating around in their house? But either way, let's just get straight to arms. No need to fluff around about it. Taking some inspiration from quads. Almost all my quad days start off with alternating sets of single leg extensions. It's just a different kind of fatigue. Because if I sit there and I do both legs at once for whatever, 20, I'm getting gradually more fatigued until I'm just kind of about that failure zone. Stop the set, recover, repeat. But I kind of like changing it up with these alternating reps. So 5, then 5, then 5, then 5, kind of just as many times as I can. Because instead of just being a linear rate of fatigue, or at least continuous, it's just a little different because now it's like, okay, I'm getting more tired. I just did my 5 reps on my right side. The right side now gets 5 reps to the left side to rest, gets a little bit of oxygen, a little bit more blood, gets fatigued again, gets fatigued again, gets fatigued again. And there's no scientific backing for this. I just know it fucking feels good and lets me squeeze extra hard and go to failure with moderate weight. Because I don't need to try to do the full stack with one arm. Frankly, I think that's I mean, I've done it before and I think it was almost a waste of energy. I'm going to get more of a real thoughtful squeeze with a third of the stack to failure rather than just kind of manhandling it. Because you just miss out on, well, not to hate on like a really heavy set, but especially in the beginning when I'm fresh, I'm still trying to warm up my elbows. There's just no need to do anything that crazy. Now, later on the lift, once I'm nice and warm, I can see some heavy weight being moved around, skull crusher wise. No dips here, but we'll see. But no more talking. Let's start this first set off with a certain Don Tolliver song. Okay. May have overestimated or underestimated my strength on there. I probably should have done the 42 or the 50 instead of the 35. But even though that wasn't absolute muscular failure, long head is starting to burn. Let's adjust, go a little heavier on the next one, and repeat. Yeah. Let's move on to some kind of bent over overhead V-bar. That'll be perfect. All right, so I got to make 2 adjustments before I do this set. For me to just bend over and start pumping out overhead reps, the stack is a bit light. But with anything overhead, if I try to go too heavy, I kind of lose the ability to just extend with my triceps. And I end up doing like a weird like push with my shoulders, and it just kind of sucks. So I'm gonna make this weight more manageable by kind of pre-exhausting. Maybe 5, 6 reps, good hold, good squeeze, then flip around and burn out with a stretch focused overhead push. Yeah. Ooh. So, okay. Okay. Yeah. So one thing execution-wise, I'm trying to completely relax my triceps into the stretch position so that the only thing holding the weight isn't even me like flexing. It's just the amount of tension that's residually left over. But this has got to be my favorite superset for triceps, at least at this very moment. So, a few more. Yeah. Okay. May or may not do one more, actually. Let me think about it for a second. Same shit, but rope first. So I get a little more squeeze action than the straight bar. Okay. All right. Yeah. Now I can start some curls. Dude, that has, I mean, I'm not saying I like it for no reason. I'm going to keep that up for probably the next few tricep days. Let's just do the same approach as with tries. Same weight too. 5, 5, 5, 5. Then go from there. I don't really want to do anything too heavy today. I've got a tendency of doing kind of heavy curls. So just to change it up and break the pattern, I might make today a bit lighter, squeezing focused. Which honestly, I feel like I have a bit of a problem with because that's harder. For me, I have a much easier time grabbing like the 70s or the 80s and doing a set to 8 and like hitting failure really quick. Whereas it's a bit harder to, sit here with like 40 pounds with a straight bar and do like a 1 minute long fucking torturous burning set. So just something to keep in mind. If you do the same kind of sets for the same muscle group every lift, it's probably worth changing it up. One more. Same everything. Let's change handles, but stay right here. I didn't intend it, but me and this cable machine are getting pretty fucking acquainted here. But with arms, I mean, what's the point, you know? If something like just multiple attachments right here works fine, dude, that saves me walking around and having to pick up all my shit and relocate, 5 or 6 times during the workout. I think it's an unfortunate stigma that I feel arms and shoulders have, where I don't hear it a ton, but enough where I notice it's like, well, dude, it's so fucking boring, man. Just 8 sets of push downs, like, because like bench and squats and whatever. Like, I mean, squats are hard, but like bench pull downs and stuff, that's just cool. But I think that's a flawed mentality, dude. The simpler the training can be, man, the better. Like, this is fucking perfect. Honestly, I need if I just had like one cable adjustable in like my basement or something, I have no reason to make a trip anywhere. If I've got enough attachments, that's more than enough for arms. Well, let's do a couple sets of close grip bicep biased pull downs. So even though it looks like a conventional like underhanded pull down, no. If you were to attach some electrodes to my lats and my traps and my biceps, probably a little forearm too, you're not going to see much activation in the lat department, right? Even though it is a pull down movement, the only muscle I'm trying to activate is my biceps, right? So a bicep curl is just like this, right? So if you zoom in on just my arm, it's the same thing right here, but it just has a different kind of range of motion. Plus there's kind of I'm no anatomy major or anything, but I'll hear some real advocates of like chin-ups for bicep growth really hype up the fact that your biceps also kind of play into like this sort of motion and not just this, which, sounds about right. Your hamstrings don't only bend your fucking knees, they also kind of hinge your hips. But again, perfect addition to change up a more conventional arm day. So let's just go nuts for a few here. It's very squeeze focused. Nah. Nah. Go. Da. 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 Two. Da. Do. Do. Yeah. 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 Okay. Wow. One more minimum. I'm going to throw a 25 on the side, though. This is a little light. Yeah. 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 Okay. Whew. One more. I think this has a very strong potential for being the ender. So I'm kind of going to copy fucking triceps with that same approach of like a, well, just a two-parter superset. Pre-exhaustion, followed by the burnout. So I want to burn out with these curls here, just because something about finishing with a crazy, like squeezing, hard finisher always kind of lets me finish off more pumped than just regular kind of pump out reps with partials at the end of it. So I think let's just grab this cable here, do some standing easy bar curls. Actually, no, some seated easy bar curls. Nothing crazy weight-wise. And this portion doesn't even have to be to total failure because it's just the pre-exhaustion part. It just has to be hard enough where I know my biceps are feeling it. And then I can really take them to the fucking executioner's table by coming over here and doing these bicep bias pull downs. So let's just get my fucking music going again and get ready to fucking pose down. Eh. And a little heavier. Oh. So. Yeah. 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 Okay. Yeah. Two. Yeah. 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 Okay. Oh. Yeah. Arms complete. Let's find some fucking lighting. Let's get a little right out in the open kind of pose down. Usually I want to relegate this to a little more hidden spot, but considering this place is fucking cemetery dead, I think we're all right. Ugh. A little bit of a quick one. I can, every time I record one of these clips, it saves a timestamp in the file, so I can look. I don't think that this, well, let me try to remember what time it is even right now, but yeah, I mean, that was no more than an hour-long lift. I think more like, not including a little bit of warm-up phase in the beginning, maybe 45 minutes for tries and buys. I mean, if you're doing kind of quicker sets a little bit, it doesn't take too long. And today was a bit more, well, less weight focused. So if I do a crazy set of like insanely heavy dumbbell curls, I may need to wait a few extra minutes, or at least an extra minute or two, before I feel like I'm really ready to do that same weight again. But with today, you know, when the set's primary variable that induces the failure is just really trying to go for a burn, it doesn't take so long to recover from. So another benefit of having an open mind with the style of your training, if you're in a little bit more of a rush, If you do more lighter squeezing sets, you can get away with a slightly shorter rest period and get a perfectly good pump as well. But let's stop explaining the details behind it and just look at the actual results. This this cutoff is a little bit thin in the front, but this is probably the freakiest my front lat spread is going to look, at least in terms of an actual like size orientation. Like if you looked at just my silhouette, black and white, you have no idea if I was lean or not. All you would see is like fucking just mass. So that's where I'm getting real excited to peel down again. And I mean, I've been saying this every pump, just because every pose will just get a double, maybe even a tripling of freakiness from having more kind of like striations and stuff. Like even arms, I'll get some a little bit of kind of striations right up in here. Oh, jeez, I just can't freaking wait. Oh, wait, is it this? Yeah, this way. I always forget which leg goes in front. There we go. Oh. Yeah. Oh, well, I think that pump speaks for itself. Let's get in the car and go home. I am ready to eat. I was really fucking fatigued today, to the point where I was actually almost considering doing a rest day, but I ended up just taking an extra long nap. Seemed to counter it. But if I feel a little bit off my game tomorrow, then I think I'll definitely do a rest day, because my leg days, especially quads, they suffer if I can tell that my recovery is a little bit out of whack. So it'd be better off for me to focus on that and then come back the next day and go twice as crazy as I would have. The last thing you want to do is roll up and then have to have kind of a scrappy lift because you're not all the way there. But anything you can do to prevent that, go for it. Well, let's get in the car. And with that, one more little lift. One more, in the grand scheme of things, potentially insignificant lift thrown into the fucking thrown into the jar, right? Like this bulk. Imagine I got a little mason jar full of fucking jelly beans. So far, there's 103 of them, right? 103 solid days worth of this bulking phase. If one or two were gone, there'd probably be no difference. I think I'd be exactly as big as I am right now. And looking at that little jar analogy, you'd have no way to fucking tell. But they add up. They add up slowly but fucking surely, right? If you've ever been to a gym with leaky ceilings and you've seen the bucket that they throw under it instead of sending up there to actually tighten whatever pipe fitting is loose. Hey man, day after day after day, just wait for it. That pipe or that bucket is going to be overflowing. And even though it has a relatively slow rate of progress, eventually it's going to be a pretty big fucking problem to deal with later. So let's think about it. So it's been 100 or so days. We're up 30 something pounds, and that is not all muscle, of course, but just for like math's sake, let's say 30 pounds. So that's on average, 0.3 pounds a day. You have no way to fucking notice. You ever drink 0.3 pounds of water? What is that, about that's 1 cup. If you drink 1 cup of water, you do not suddenly feel like, holy crap, dude, I'm fucking walking around heavier, man. But still adds up. So what I'm really trying to get at is, if you can get yourself seriously locked in for long enough, eventually you'll actually realize the fucking results of whatever gains you're aiming for. And once you actually see them, once you actually fucking reap the benefits, I'd say 80% of the time you're hooked. Now, there's a lot of guys where they used to work out pretty hard, but then they kind of lost track of
Might need a haircut soon. I keep getting fucking hair in my mouth. But, you know, I mean, there's been a lot of guys where they work out pretty hard for long enough and then they kind of just fall out of it due to, you know, for this or the other. But if you can stay strong, right? If you can keep that routine up for long enough, eventually you're going to be fucking, you know, you're going to have to say, oh, geez, do I want to go to the Metro or should I go to the Anytime? Or do I want to go to the Planet? Well, I don't know. Sometimes they don't like you bringing the tripod, and then just whatever else, you know. But I say this a lot, and I really mean it. Sometimes I feel kind of weird hyping up all this. You know, it's like if you actually fucking put in the work, you'll get the results that you want, and it kind of sounds a little bit disingenuous because I know that the guys who are actually grinding for the results they want to get, they want it and they know it. They don't need me to tell them. So that's where I can't help but fucking spam the you know, the 3 pillars of gains. That's not it's not trademarked or anything, so feel free to go wild. But your sleep, your diet, eh, diet slash hydration, we'll kind of count those as one. Sleep, diet, hydration, and then your training. If these 3 things are in solid balance, you're going to be making gains. You're going to be getting bigger. You're going to be getting stronger. And then everything else that comes along with it. So all that kind of comes with consistency, man. Download a macro tracker. I know it sucks, but just try it. You might feel like you're fucking, you know, Mr. Monk with the level of OCD. It might seem like to track every calorie and every gram of fats and proteins or whatever else. But if you do it for long enough, it'll just become another habit. And then, like I said a second ago, once you actually see, oh crap, now that I've started tracking my macros, I've had better pumps because I've actually been getting enough carbs in my system and not just sort of, you know, eating whatever. Because there really isn't anybody, at least not, it's not a majority of people, where their baseline appetite is like perfect for gains. Like, I don't think anybody's baseline appetite is, you know, 250 grams of protein a day. I don't think anybody's baseline appetite is like an actual calorie deficit if you're trying to diet down. You know, there is a certain difficulty with making any changes to your body's composition because your body doesn't want to change, right? Any fucking kind of organism, at least as long as it's, you know, in its sort of final state. Obviously, if you're a fucking baby, you're going to want to grow like crazy. But your body wants to stay the same. It doesn't want to gain 20 pounds of muscle. It doesn't want to suddenly lose 30 pounds of fat as though you're going into like starvation mode and you had a poor yield this crop season. You know, it likes everything to be nice and just consistent. Same time to bed, same time to rise, same time to eat, same time to everything. That's how we operate. So to go against that sort of you know, nature of things by trying to manipulate your fucking food intake and, you know, increase your training load. I mean, dude, if it were up to my fucking, well, I'd say deep subconscious, it would probably say, holy crap, how much weight are you putting on your back? Don't do that. What the fuck, man? That's insane. Why do I want to do that? That's hard. Right? So that's where you got to kind of fight against that and say, look, man, I'm in fucking control here. And if I want to load damn near 500-600 pounds onto my mid traps and do a set of Smith machine squats, then guess what? That's what's going to happen. And if I want to get myself into a deficit so that I can get ab veins and shoulder striations, then guess what? I'm going to fight against my you know, my cravings for a Wendy's 4 for 4 or a pint of Ben and Jerry's cookies and cream. So, as tricky as it does sound, it's really a lot of things. It just comes down to a balance of desires. You know, it's so having a little bit of mental toughness is going to help you with that, because I think everybody would love to be jacked, right? I don't care who you are. I think everybody would press a button. Okay, do I want to transform myself to being in shape like I was when I was in my 20s? Yes, please. Beep. I don't know who wouldn't want to do that. But right, now we take it into the real world. Okay, how many people want to actually track their calories, not go out drinking a lot, get enough sleep, add cardio into the routine, do consistent weight training, constantly be sweaty, cut out some time during their day, which they'd probably rather, use for just, chilling. And then now that percentage sways pretty hard. But that just kind of adds value to it, right? Because now, not everybody's willing to do it, so if you are, that's a fucking plus for you. You just separated yourself from the herd. So that's my thoughts there. But bulk-wise, we are doing rather well. I did not weigh myself this morning. Sometimes it'll drive you a little crazy if you start weighing yourself every day, because you are going to have minor fluctuations of just water intake and how carved up you were, or if you had a really big meal right before bed, or if you ate most of your food earlier in the day. It just kind of, it'll fluctuate. But I'll see what we're looking at morning weight tomorrow. 280, 250. But no point just sitting there dreaming about it. I know that what's going to actually take me there is hitting all my calories, not missing any meals, getting a good amount of sleep, and slamming enough fucking fluids. I'll leave you with one note just on the hydration side of things. This is something that I've found has made it a lot easier for me to get ahead of it, because the last thing I want to do is have it be, like 2 hours before my workout or something, and then I realize, like, oh shit, the only thing I had to drink today was like a small like Gatorade Zero bottle. Fuck, I can tell I'm dehydrated, and usually when I am, it's not even like it's not even an issue of remembering. I can like feel just kind of not dry. Usually you kind of feel in your head. Like if I don't drink enough water one day, which was today actually, I could tell like I just have like a minor kind of headache. Because if my water intake fluctuates too drastically, that's the cause of like 90% of anybody's fucking headaches. It's just your brain either swelling up or kind of shrinking down because of your electrolyte imbalance. If you know anything about osmosis, then you know what I'm saying. So what I've kind of started doing to counteract that over the last couple of years is just get a water bottle ready the night before. I'm talking, I'm talking just 1 liter, add an electrolyte packet of your choice, leave that next to your fucking bedstand, and then as soon as I wake up, slam it. And that puts me at like 25% of my intake for the whole day. At least minimum. Usually it looks like this. I'm not really sipping all the time, but usually it's about 1 liter in the morning, 1 liter after cardio, always 1 liter in the pre-workout, and then usually I've either got a liter water bottle next to me while I'm lifting, or I'll slam one during the post-workout meal. So I'm just based on those 4 kind of times, I always get at least 1 gallon of water per day, and that's with some electrolyte packets inside too, just so I've got enough sodium and everything else, so I'm actually like really hydrated, not just high up on my basically potentially unnecessary fluid intake. But that's something which I've noticed some pretty serious benefits from. And then it's good to get out of the way, man. There's a lot of folks. I mean, I'm not exactly sure. Maybe I should think I might make another YouTube poll and ask just how much water everybody's drinking a day. But I'm sure there's a fucking good percentage of lifters out there where you're probably only getting 1.5 liters. And I think you're missing out. It has a direct play with just how pumped you are. Because if I were to go a full day with minimal water, maybe just like 16 ounces or whatever else, then my lift will suffer, both in actual performance, because I won't have as much fluids floating around, which literally makes up your pump. Plus, I'm probably gonna feel like shit too, So that's my phrase of the day: stay hydrated. Gosh dang it! And try to tone down on some of the swears. I know it gets a little much at times. I swear I do not talk like that to people. I don't know, something about this one-on-one with you makes me crazy. But plan now, slam Yeah, I'm thinking breakfast for dinner. 8 eggs, whole, 3 slices of American cheese mixed in right when they're about done cooking, a little bit of red hot buffalo style, and then some sorts of carbs. Fuck, man, I might just do white toast with butter. Do a full on breakfast. Well, at that point, I may as well have bacon. But that and one more kind of snacky kind of meal, and then I'll be ready to go to bed. At Lake tomorrow. Which I think I'm gonna do. I'm gonna make tomorrow's quad session a little lighter. I can I can tell if I go a little bit too crazy with the heavy pressing on repeat, I do start to notice a little bit of breakdown. Nothing. I'm not talking anything like crazy serious, but I can feel my right shin is getting a little shin splinty, and my left knee is a little bit more tender than I would like. So that's where I'm basically doing my check engine light and seeing if anything is kind of flaring up, and if anything is, act accordingly, back off a little bit. So that's all I got, man. You better have done your cardio today, even though I know you didn't, but won't stop me from saying it. So I'll see you tomorrow for legs.